Let me tell you a little bit about our rhythm of Eat and Engage. Robert Karris, in the book A Meal with Jesus, he's quoted saying this: in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus is either going to a meal, at a meal, or coming from a meal. Often Jesus' missionary strategy appears to be a long meal that's stretched into the evening. Luke 7:34 says, "The Son of Man came eating and drinking." Meals played a prominent role in the ministry of Jesus, and this is why we value shared meals. Eating together is one of our rhythms. Here's the truth. Most people come into a relationship with Jesus because they have a relationship with someone who has a relationship with Jesus. Let me say that again. Most people come into a relationship with Jesus because they have a relationship with somebody who has a relationship with Jesus. We had a group gathering recently, and we were talking about this, and it was amazing how many people, their first step towards Jesus was saying yes to an invitation to a meal. But here's what is so different about Jesus when you look at how he lived and who he ate with. He calls us to share our meals and our time, not with just those we know and are comfortable with, but he also calls us to eat and engage with those who might be on the margins. Listen to what it says in Luke 14:12-14. He said also to the man who had invited him, "When you give a dinner or a banquet, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your rich neighbors, lest they invite you in return and you be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you, for you will be repaid at the resurrection of the just." So here, Jesus is challenging people on their motives for who they eat with. It's important to understand that the overall context. Jesus is not saying that it's wrong to eat with your friends, neighbors, relatives, but in this first century context of his teaching, there were common hospitality rules of reciprocity. So it was costly and time-consuming to throw a banquet or a feast, but if you invited the right people, it was customary for them to invite you to their banquet or feast. The poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, the outcast. They were often not invited to these feasts because they had no way to pay somebody back. So what set Jesus apart from other rabbis was that he ate and engaged with all sorts of people. We see him eating meals with the religious elite, but we also see him at a party of Matthew the tax collector and his band of outcasts. So one of the ways that we practice the way of Jesus together as a community is that we eat and engage intentionally with both insiders and outsiders. As followers of Jesus, we are called to share both our message and our lives with others, because the gospel needs to be taught and caught. So here's our simple rhythm statement. I will eat and engage with others relationally this week. And the reason why we add the engage, so it's not just eat, is that it doesn't have to be a meal. The value is in relationally connecting with someone. So it'd be going for a walk, a hike, going shopping with them. My personal favorite is a round of golf, because then you get to eat after. It's kind of a win-win there. So just a question, who are you planning on eating or spending time with this week? And does it include anyone from outside your church community? A meal or shared activity, it's a great time to share your story of grace. So here's a thought for you this week or next. What is one thing you can do to create the space and the margin you need to eat with someone outside our church community? It's amazing what can happen if you just open up your homes, open up your table, open up your life, and just share it with others.